Happy Negroni week, everybody. It may be Friday, but it's not too late to fix yourself a Negroni or have one when you go out. If you don't know what a Negroni is, it's a cocktail that was invented about 100 years ago in Florence at, I believe, Cafe Coscarelli, I may be saying that incorrectly, by Count Negroni. By the way, how badass is that name? Like, what's your name? My name is Count Negroni. It's kind of cool. Anyway, and he and his friend, who was a bartender, were talking, and he wanted a variation of his favorite cocktail, the Americano. So instead of soda water, he wanted to add gin, make it a little stronger. And he did that, and it became wildly popular. And it is sort of a signature cocktail for red bitters. Of course, the most famous red bitters is Campari, but I prefer to make cocktails supporting smaller companies, artisan companies. This is a traditional Italian company, Nardini, that has some great artisanal practices, so I really appreciate that. But there's also some really cool Mexican red bitters that are pretty outstanding, that go wonderfully in this drink. So if you wanted to do a mezcal version of the Negroni, that would work really beautifully too. Today, in the place of gin, I'm actually just using a Masala Cilantro brandy from Oakland Spirits Company, because why not? And I'm going to use the Imbue Sweet Red Vermouth. And my twist is I'm going to use some Osmanthus, touch of the hydrosol, a touch of essential oil, and the blossoms. The edible essential oil, right? You don't want to just grab essential oil and start eating it. Like, you have to know how it was extracted. And so I'm pretty clear on that. But I thought one of the other things that goes in the Negroni, of course, is citrus. I prefer blood orange, but today I'm using lemon. But what do we know about Osmanthus? Is it can bring out fruity characteristics. It's very funny. I should use it more often in my compositions because I use so much fruit. But for whatever reason, I haven't thus far, but I just came across a great one, and I'm growing it in the garden. I'm getting to know it better as a plant. So I thought that would be fun to take up that sort of blood orange that I usually like in my Negroni. So I'm going to add that right now. A little drop of Osmanthus. Oh yeah, straight from the, just a little though. Like, you do not want to be like overly perfuming yourself in your cocktails. I mean, you might. I am crazy like that. Okay, yeah, I can already sort of smell the wonderful aromatics from that, so I'm just going to do a little guy here, and you know what? I'm going to, so this is more of like a stirred cocktail, but I'm just going to keep it a little bit on ice today because that's how I'm feeling. But you can do this up, you could do it in a martini glass, you know, go crazy. And then, since this is technically my drinkable flowers episode, I'm just going to, instead of the classic twist, like citrus twist, pink rose blossoms. Why not? Why not? Yes. Yes, the Osmanthus was a fantastic call. Okay, so this was my assumption. This is also why I wanted to add this. I thought, so the red bitters. I guess if you have spent a lot of time in Europe, you're probably pretty familiar with all of the wonderful Italian apertivos and digestives and wonderfully bitter kind of spirits that I feel like we don't experience enough in the United States, right? Unless maybe you're a spirits nerd, but it's a really wonderful way to sort of step out of your regular sort of cocktail. But what's really interesting about this is the Osmanthus is balancing out the bitterness. Like, it still has that bitterness that's like that beautiful accent that makes up a Negroni, but the Osmanthus is like, what? I mean, okay, I'm going to have to make that cocktail again. That is outstanding. So I'm going to put a recipe underneath. for just, you know, a classic Negroni, and then how you can switch it up. In the gin position, you can just do so many cool and interesting and fun things. So I definitely recommend getting experimental, but the Osmanthus in this is really stunning. So this is the time of year Osmanthus is blooming. If you have some in your yard, you know, make sure it's an, I know mine is an edible varietal. I believe they're all edible, but I would definitely double check it before eating it, right? Like on the type of Osmanthus you have growing in your yard. But it's a beautiful time of year for Osmanthus. So if you have some, go ahead and use it as a little sprinkle on top of your cocktail, because it really brings out beautiful, beautiful aromatics. Anyway, cheers, happy Negroni week, and I hope you guys are having a good one.